Your twin brother is dying. His breaths are shallow, rattling. His chest rises and falls with each breath, but less each time. You know he won't last until morning. The cell is dark, cold. The stone walls smell of sweat and blood. Outside, sounds from the amphitheater. The crowd cheering. Someone won. Someone died. Tomorrow it could be you, or your twin brother, or both of you. But the lanista, the owner of the Gladiator school, has different plans. The door opens. Torchlight floods in. The lanista enters. Behind him, 2 guards. In his hand, a knife and a plate. "Listen to me, boy," he says. His voice is flat, emotionless, as if he's discussing the weather. "Your brother won't last until morning. You know this. I know this. Everyone knows." He nods, continues. "But meat is meat. We can't waste it. Understand? You don't understand or don't want to understand. When your brother dies," the lanista continues, "you will eat his flesh before dawn. If you don't," he pauses, smiles, "if you don't, we'll throw you to the lions with him, alive." He sets down the plate, sets down the knife, leaves, and you, 14 years old, watching your twin brother die, know the worst hasn't come yet. Before diving into these forgotten stories of survival and suffering, if you enjoy learning about the hidden truths of history, consider hitting that like button and subscribing for more content like this. And please comment below to let me know where you're listening from. I find it incredible that we're exploring these ancient stories together from different parts of the world, connected across time and space by our shared curiosity about the past. Your names are Titus and Lucia. Wait, no, wrong. Those are Roman names. Your real names are different, Thracian names, but no one uses them anymore. No one remembers, because when you're a slave, even your name doesn't belong to you. In 95 AD, you were born in a small village in Thrace. At the same moment, in the same womb, twins, male twins. The villagers thought this auspicious. 2 souls, 1 heart, they said. The gods have blessed these children. Maybe so, maybe not. But for the first 10 years, you were happy. Poor but happy. Father was a farmer, mother was a weaver. You were children. You ran in the fields, climbed trees, threw stones at each other. Twins are special. You knew this. If Titus fell, Lucia felt pain. If Lucia cried, Titus knew why. Words were unnecessary. A glance was enough. But at age 10, everything changed. The Roman army came. Thrace had rebelled. Rome didn't forgive. Villages were burned. Men were killed. Women and children made slaves. You saw your mother behind a soldier, chained. She was crying. She tried to look at you, but another soldier pushed her. Then she disappeared into the crowd. You never saw your father. Maybe he died. Maybe he escaped. You don't know. You never learned. They chained you too, together, twins, inseparable. They took you to Rome's slave market. In Rome City, in the Forum, you were lined up, hundreds of slaves, old, young, children. Buyers walked around, looked, asked, age, health, skills. One man stopped. Before you, old, hard-faced. He had muscles, but now loose, a former warrior, now a merchant. Twins, he said, smiled. Perfect. The public loves twins. He turned to the buyer. How much for both? 100 denarii? Too much. Both are small, weak, but twins, rare. Negotiation. Finally 60 denarii. For both of you, 30 each. Cheap. The man took your hand. My name is Marcellus. You belong to me now. You will be gladiators. Understand? Gladiator. You knew the word, warrior, in the arena for death. Marcellus took you to Ludus Magnus, Rome's largest gladiator school, right next to the Colosseum. Thousands of gladiators trained here, some free, but most slaves, like you. The first day hurt. Your trainer, a former gladiator, Rufus, was a hard man. Forget everything, he said. Your family, your village, your names. Now you're gladiators, nothing else. Training began at dawn, running for hours, then weights, lifting stones, then weapons. Sword, spear, shield, net. Each day different weapons, each day different techniques. Titus was good with the sword, fast, agile. Lucia was good with the spear, strong, determined. Together you were perfect twins. Rufus would say, if you fight together, no one can beat you. You know each other. You anticipate. That's power. But other gladiators, other children didn't like you. Jealous. Twins always have it easier, they'd say. They fight together. Unfair. There were fights in the cell during training, but you won. Always. Because you were two as one. At 12 you had your first show. A small arena. A small crowd, but still a show. Facing you, two gladiators. Bigger, more experienced. But you were twins. Coordinated. Lucia attacked from the right. The enemy turned left. Titus struck from behind. The enemy fell. First blood. The crowd cheered. Marcellus smiled. See, he said to Rufus, the investment is paying off. For 3 years you fought. Small shows. Private events. Always together. Always one. You two became a team, but people wanted individual gladiators. When will they fight alone? The crowd asked. Marcellus resisted. Twins are more valuable together. Special. Rare. But other lanistas, other owners, thought differently. Twins are dependent on each other. Weak. They should be able to fight separately. When you turned 14, Marcellus was open to the suggestion. In the next show, he said, you'll fight separately. Different matches. Same day, but separate. Titus panicked. No, we always fight together. That's our rule. Marcellus shrugged. Rules change. You'll fight. Both of you will win. Simple. But it wasn't simple. Because that day Lucia won, Titus won. But Lucia was injured badly. Lucia's opponent was deceptive. Looked younger, weak, but experienced. 10 years in the arena, 20 victories. The match began. Lucia was careful, defensive, but the opponent was patient. Waited, then an opening. Lucia's shield dropped for a second. The spear entered into the chest, deep. The crowd screamed. Lucia staggered back. Blood flowed. Too much blood. Titus, in the spectator section, screamed, Lucia, but no one heard. The crowd was too loud. Lucia fell to his knees. The opponent approached for the finishing blow, but the referee intervened. Missio, mercy. The crowd was mixed. Some shouted, die, but others live. Being a twin, it mattered. Symbolic. The organizer decided. Live, but barely. Lucia was carried away to the valetudinarium, the Gladiator hospital. Doctors worked for hours. The wound was cleaned, stitched, bandaged. But infection. There's always risk of infection, especially lung wounds. Titus stayed there by his brother's side all night. Lucia breathed. Difficult, painful. Your match? He asked. I won, said Titus. But it doesn't matter. You matter. Lucia smiled weakly. We always win. Remember. I remember. 1 day passed. Lucia's breathing became harder. Doctors worried. Lung punctured. Air escaping. Body infected. 2 days passed. Lucia was feverish, shivering, delirious. Mother, he said. Where's Mother? But Mother wasn't there. Years ago, lost in another life. 3 days passed. Doctors told Marcellus. He's dying. Maybe tonight. Maybe tomorrow. But dying. Marcellus looked at Titus. I'm sorry, boy. Your brother, we're losing him? Titus cried. 14 years old. Still a child. No, he's strong. He'll fight. He always fights. Some battles are lost. Marcellus left guards, closed the door. Night fell. Lucia's breathing became shallower. His eyes opened, looked at Titus. Brother, he whispered. I'm here, always here. I know, but soon I won't be. Don't talk. Save your strength. No strength left. Lucia smiled, sad. But you're still strong. Fight. Win. Be free. For both of us. I can't without you. You're my half. Then carry me. In your heart. Always. Lucia's eyes closed. Breathing stopped. And Titus was alone. For the first time in his life. Morning came. Guards came to take Lucia's body. But Marcellus stopped them. Wait, he said. Entered. Looked at Titus. His eyes were red. Swollen from crying. Titus, said Marcellus. His voice was soft, but a hard softness. Your brother died. I know it hurts, but life continues, and you still have to fight. Titus said nothing. But Marcellus continued, you must do something for me and for him. Titus looked up. What? Marcellus took a deep breath. There's an old tradition from warrior tribes, Thracian, Celtic, Germanic. When a warrior falls, his brothers eat his flesh, take his strength, take his spirit, so the warrior doesn't die. Lives on in his brother. Titus froze. What are you saying? Your brother died, but his flesh remains. We shouldn't waste it. You will eat before dawn. If you don't, he paused. His eyes hardened. If you don't, we'll throw you to the lions with him, alive. Titus wanted to scream, but no sound came, just stared, disbelieving. I know, said Marcellus. It's hard, but it's an honor. Your brother will be part of you forever, and you'll be stronger, strong as both of you. This is madness. This is survival. Marcellus stood. When dawn comes, guards will come. If you've finished, you live. If you haven't, lions. He left, closed the door, locked it. Titus was alone, with Lucia's body, with a knife, and with a choice. Hours passed. Titus sat, didn't look, couldn't, just stared at the wall. Stone, cold, empty. Outside, sounds, guards, patrols, laughter. For them, this was a normal night. But for Titus, this was hell. The knife lay on the floor, gleaming in torchlight, sharp, ready. Titus thought. Options? Option 1, do it, eat, survive, but stop being human. Option 2, don't do it. Refuse. Lions, but keep humanity, even in death. Which choice was better? Which choice was less bad? What would Lucia say? Titus thought. What would his brother want? He remembered Lucia's last words, carry me in your heart. But this was different. This wasn't just heart. This was flesh, real flesh. Titus stood, slowly approached Lucia, looked at the body, his brother, his mirror, his half. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm sorry. He took the knife, held it. It was heavy, or maybe his conscience was heavy. Could he do it? Could he really do it? He thought. If he doesn't, he dies. Lucia is already dead. Both lost, for nothing. But if he does a part, lives Lucia's strength, Lucia's spirit, in Titus. Does this make sense, or just self-deception? He didn't know, but dawn was approaching, and he had to decide. Tears flowed. Hands trembled, but he raised the knife. Forgive me, brother. And he began. The sun rose. Guards came, opened the door, looked inside. Titus sat on the floor, covered in blood, his face empty, his eyes empty. The plate was empty. The guard nodded. He finished. Tell Marcellus. Marcellus came, looked at Titus, smiled. Good. Strong boy. Now you're stronger, with the strength of both. Titus said nothing, couldn't. He had no voice, had no soul, only body remained. Clean him, Marcellus told the guards. Tomorrow he fights again. They lifted Titus, washed him, dressed him, put him in another cell, cleaner, bigger. But Titus didn't notice. Where he was didn't matter, because he wasn't anywhere anymore. In his mind he was there, that night, that choice, that don't think. If you think, you'll go mad. Titus was no longer Titus. Now Castor, one of the mythological twins, Ludus Magnus, thought it fitting. Pollux died, whatever his real name was. Castor lives, the surviving twin. In 2 months, Titus Castor 1 10 matches, each more savage than the last, faster, more merciless. The audience was amazed. Where did this boy find such power? They asked. Marcellus smiled. He was a twin. Now he has the strength of 2 people. Technically not a lie, but the truth was much darker. Castor fought as if he wasn't alive, as if death didn't scare him because it didn't. Death would be liberation, but he kept living because Lucia had said, win, be free, for both of us. So he would win, would be free for both. But every night, dreams came. Lucia, the body, the knife, the flesh, the taste, the terrible taste. He'd wake, vomit, cry, but then get up, because he had to live. Survival is sometimes the worst punishment. 6 months later, Marcellus brought big news. Castor, you'll fight in the Colosseum. 50,000 spectators. Even the emperor will be there. Castor nodded. Numb, Colosseum, small arena. Doesn't matter. All the same. Just die or kill. The day came. Castor waited at the arena entrance with other gladiators, all big, all strong, all experienced. But Castor was different. There was something in his eyes, an emptiness, a coldness. You okay, young one? Asked an old gladiator. You look scared. I'm not scared, said Castor, because I have nothing to lose. I've already lost everything. The gladiator frowned. What do you mean? Nothing. Castor looked ahead. The arena gates were opening. Noise came. The crowd. 50,000 voices. Shouting, applauding, waiting. Castor walked into the arena. The sun was bright. The sand was hot. The air thick. Smelled of sweat and blood. Across from him 5 gladiators. 5. All against him. Because he was the surviving twin. The public wanted a special show. 5 gladiators against 1 twin. Let's see if he's as strong as 2 people. The battle began. Castor was fast, very fast. He dodged the first gladiator, struck the second, knocked down the third. The crowd went wild. Castor, Castor, Castor. But Castor didn't hear, just fought, mechanical, no emotion, just movement. The 4th gladiator cut Castor's arm. Blood flowed, but Castor didn't notice, continued. The 5th gladiator struck Castor's leg. Castor fell, but got back up. The crowd held its breath. Won't he die? Castor turned to the last gladiator, looked into his eyes, and saw fear. The gladiator was afraid, because Castor was like the dead, a living corpse. Castor attacked. Final move. Sword entered. Gladiator fell. Silence. Then explosion. Cheering. Castor, Castor, Castor. The emperor stood. Thumbs up. Live hero. But Castor didn't feel like a hero. Felt like a monster. He fought for 3 more years. 50 victories. No losses. Became legend. Finally, Marcellus came. Castor, you've won enough. You're free. Freedom. The word he dreamed of. But now it rang hollow. Free. Castor repeated. What does that mean? You can go wherever you want, do whatever you want. You're no longer a slave. Castor looked at his hands. He was 17, but his hands were like an old man's hands. Scars, calluses, bloodstains, never leaving. Where would I go? He asked. I have no home, no family, no brother. He stopped, breathed. No brother. Marcellus shrugged. That's your problem now. You're free. Go. Live. Forget. But how do you forget? How do you forget eating your brother? How do you forget every bite? How do you forget the taste? Castor left the city, walked, for days. Didn't know where he was going, just wanted to go, away, from everything. Finally a village. It felt familiar. But how? Then he realized home, his own village, or its remains, burned 20 years ago. But he still recognized it. He sat in the ashes and cried. For the first time in years, really cried. Lucia, he whispered, I'm sorry, so sorry. I'm free. But you were never free. The wind blew, as if it was an answer, as if Lucia was saying, good, live, for me. But how could Castor live? How could he live with those memories? That conscience? He didn't know. But he tried, because Lucia had said, and he had to keep Lucia's word. Castor lived 20 more years, built a small farm, got married, had children, but was never happy. Happiness, he'd forgotten how that felt. Every night, the same dream. Lucia, that cell, the knife, and what had to be done before dawn. His wife would ask, "Why do you wake up screaming? Why do you always say your brother's name? Just a dream," he'd say. A lie, but how could he explain? How could he say, "I ate my brother to survive"? And every day, every hour, I still remember the taste. He had children, twins, male twins. When he first saw them, he wanted to scream, because he saw them, Titus and Lucia, reborn, in different faces, but the same bond, the same love, the same wholeness. And he was afraid, because he knew the world separates twins. The world separates everyone, and even the strongest bonds can break. He watched his children as they grew, playing together, laughing together, and each time his heart broke, because they were Titus and Lucia, before being lost, before being corrupted, before being destroyed. One day one of his sons, the older, by only minutes, asked, "Father, why do you always tell us we must never separate? Why do you always tell us we must protect each other?" Castor knelt, looked into his son's eyes, and saw Lucia's eyes. "Because," he said, his voice breaking, "once I had a brother, a twin brother, and I lost him, couldn't protect him. And after he left, I left too. My heart stopped. Only my body continued living." The child nodded. Didn't understand. How could he? He was 7, innocent, clean. "But father," said the younger son, "you're still here. You're alive." "No," Castor whispered. "I survive." Very different thing. Castor died at 37. Young, but gladiators never grow old. Too many wounds. Too much damage. The body collapses. On his deathbed, he called his family, his wife, his children. All gathered around. "When I die," he said, "cremate me. Give my ashes to the wind, toward Thrace, toward where I was born. Maybe my ashes will find Lucia's ashes, and we'll be together, finally." His wife cried, "Who is this Lucia? Why do you always talk about him?" Castor smiled. "Sad. My brother. Twin brother. My other half. Without him I was never whole." His eyes closed, breathing slowed, and his last words, "Forgive me, Lucia. Forgive me." Then silence. In 1995 AD, in Rome, archaeologists are excavating the ruins of Ludus Magnus, right next to the Colosseum, the remains of the Gladiator school. They find a cell, small, dark, on the walls carved writings, Latin, hard to read. Centuries have erased them. But one writing stands out, 2 words, Lucia vivat. Lucia lives. Who wrote it? When? Why? They don't know. But they guess. Maybe a gladiator, maybe a brother, maybe someone wanted to remember. In the corner of the cell, they find something else. Bones, small, child bones, 2 skeletons, side by side, embracing each other, twins, mining marks on bones. Very old, cause of death unclear, but something strange. On the first skeleton's rib, cage marks, cut marks, from a knife post-mortem after death. Archaeologists note, probably ceremonial, old tradition. When warrior brother dies, flesh is shared, power transfer. They write in their reports, academic, objective, emotionless, but they don't know what happened in that cell. What happened that night? How much that choice destroyed? The skeletons go to a museum. Label, Unknown Gladiators, circa 100 AD, probably brothers. Unknown, but once there were names. There were lives, there were stories. Titus and Lucia, twins, inseparable, until the system separated them. Is this story true? Did it happen exactly this way? We don't know. But what we know, Roman gladiators faced these kinds of choices. Lanistas didn't waste meat. Slave bodies, they were property, alive, dying, even after death. And cannibalism taboo, but real. Common in ancient cultures, ceremonial, power transfer, spirit sharing. Rome officially banned it. But in gladiator schools behind closed doors rules were different. Lanistas were like gods, and slaves had no choice. But more importantly, the echoes of this story exist even today. Around the world still, people are forced to make impossible choices. Choices where every answer is wrong. Choices that destroy their souls. In the Holocaust, mothers had to choose which child went to the gas chamber. The other child might live. Maybe. In the Rwandan genocide, husbands were forced to kill their wives. If they didn't, both would die. If they did, one survived. But at what cost? In modern conflict zones, child soldiers are forced to kill their families. Shoot him or we shoot you. The choice is simple, but the impact lifelong. Titus's choice, eat Lucia or die himself, same structure. Same cruelty, same destruction. The system gives choice, but poison choice. Every option kills a piece of your soul. And after the choice, you've survived but haven't lived. Titus fought for 3 more years, lived for 20 more years, had children, had grandchildren. But in that cell that night he died. The real Titus died. What remained was only Castor, the surviving twin. But what survival? A living grave. Today in the museum, those 2 skeletons stand side by side, embracing each other, and tourists pass by, take photos, read. Unknown gladiators. Probably brothers. They don't know. Don't know that one ate the other. Don't know how that decision destroyed a life. Don't know how that taste still echoes 2,000 years later. But now we know. Now we remember. Now we bear witness. Titus and Lucia, twins, once inseparable. The world separated them. But in death, maybe they came together again. And their story lives, reminding us, some choices kill, not just the body, the soul too. Some survival's worse than death, and some loves so deep that even if taboos are broken, they cannot be denied. Lucia vivit, Lucia lives, in Castor, in the story, in our remembering, forever.